All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna check its local and its city search and see if it's got BSS, things like that. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, home post somewhere on this profile. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps, Google searchers, social searchers, searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today, right now. Focus on talking about BSS here in all our videos. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, peeps that ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And actually, most of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. We reach them through interruption ads on Instagram and Facebook. And we talk about that over on our sister brand, profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. If we got 0 slots on page 1 on Google, man, we're basically already dead here. Because we now have the data, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even never even go to page 2. They're page 1 and done searches only. So approximately 80% of the marketplace. So that's the bulk of the marketplace. So we're invisible to 4/5 of people from page 2 or deeper. So we got to get on page 1. But 1 slot on page 1, that ain't enough. Because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1, which means, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. No one stands out. So guess what? A buyer's simply going to click down through everyone, open everyone's website, do price quotes, price shop, price compare, negotiate, and that kills our margins. And since we're not, we don't look any different, we do not want either of these scenarios. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation. So that's, more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace every single week, it seems like. Basically, anytime anyone gets a new iPhone or new camera, new gear, they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. They're throwing a website saying they shoot boudoir, and they are throwing up they're posting the mom Facebook group saying they're now for boudoir photo shoots. So the same number of sellers, or large number of sellers to the same number of buyers, means it's harder for every single seller. Margins compress, people disappear. And so everyone really understands market saturation. It happened in a big way with COVID. People lost their jobs, so they still had to work. Everyone's got a phone with a great camera. Okay, easy to start a boudoir photography business. Market saturation. Now, the one most people don't know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So it seems like a lot of boudoir photographers simply kind of, passively accept that, as a boudoir photographer, you're going to get either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. But what actually happens is, let's say you got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, you're on like slot 8. A few new boudoir photographers into the market pushes our website back to slot, whatever, somewhere on page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, that's how it is. You normally get either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. And this is 100% incorrect. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know it's false this is a false belief of page 1 equality, that a boudoir photographer gets 0 1 slots and that's it, because I went and did the opposite. So what I discovered was that Google will actually give as many slots on page 1 as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. So okay, now we can build a solution around this, and we've done that. See that in 2 pictures. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer at DBP. And if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. Obviously, we're disappearing. But if we're on page 1, we got 1 slot, we're still basically invisible. It's basically disappearing, being price shopped against everyone. Both cases are bad. And we care about disappearing boudoir photographer because if we are a disappearing boudoir photographer, that means our, it's kind of like the warning light, the flashing check engine light, the warning signal, saying, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to actually disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered through testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And S-cubed methodology, I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there when they search them. And when we do this, when we saturate social search, that's kind of like all the snow on the backside of the Andes Mountains, the east side, down in South America. That snow melts, goes into small streams, flows into small streams, small rivers. That's social search saturation. And then that all flows into the Amazon River. That's page one search on Google is the Amazon River. So it all starts with saturating social search. And the interesting thing about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen that can allow the photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation and even massive market saturation. The only other second thing that could allow that is having a large, well-known brand. So brand would obviously solve that, but that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We don't have 5 to 10 years. AI is here taking people's jobs. We need to dominate fast and fight against market saturation as fast as possible. And something I see that kind of looking at estimates here, I believe SQ methodology can actually help people build a brand actually approximately 8x faster than normal methods because we're showing up so frequently on so many different surfaces. So it's kind of like the only turbo brand builder boost thing out there. So imagine if you've got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology, you're basically untouchable by market saturation. So an example of still growing in the face of market saturation, let's say we're in a boudoir. Let's say we're in, I want to go to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's say we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. There's 1 million boudoir photographers there. Each boudoir photographer has their own websites and issue boudoir. Everyone's fighting for those 10 organic page one slots on Google. Massive competition. And what actually happens is we're like, man, the only way we can compete, well, if we had brand, but we ain't got that large, well-known brand. So the only other second option is we got to utilize SQ methodology. So we take it, we crank it up to the max. And when we crank it up to the max, let's say we're ranking for the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And when we do that, let's say that flows out onto Google, and we saturate the first 300 slots, page one of first 300 slots of Google for those highest intent boudoir buyer searches. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that means we're taking up literally the first 30 pages. And so for any boudoir buyers out there, anywhere they search, social search, Google search, we're basically the only boudoir photographer that pops up. We've literally taken all the slots from everyone else. I mean, this would be SQ methodology to the ultra super max. But if we're essentially the only one being found, whose business is growing? Ours, in the face of massive market saturation. Whose business is disappearing, slowing down, vanishing? Well, it's the 999,999 other boudoir photographers that can basically only be found Google page 31 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page 2. So like, dude, who's actually going to page 31? Ain't nobody going to page 31. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. So initial benefit, more slots, page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is actually, when we take those more slots on Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 and putting them on page 2 or deeper, effectively making them invisible. And when we do that, we actually turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, and eventually they'll most likely exit the market. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually get this benefit better than the first one we talked about. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So the GBC universe recommends, as a recommended minimum, of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1. And that's because if everyone else has got 1 slot, our 3 slots, we're going to dominate them, look way better. People wonder why Google's recommending us so much and be clicking through ours. And in the super rare case, someone else has 2 links. Well, guess what? We are, our 3 still looks better than there too. So we're basically dominating all scenarios here. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, which now we know is false. And we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cube methodology to solve all this. Achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results, utilizing S-cube, purely utilizing S-cube methodology for myself. So I want to, frank for the term here, BLCS boudoir, I want to dominate page one of Google, BLCS boudoir. So I utilize S-cube methodology, started with 0 out of 10 links on page one of Google. Let's see what I was able to get to. So we got organic, slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days. And these are my results I got purely using S-cubed methodology. Now we're here to the main event. We're going to see if this boudoir photography business, the local and the city search, see what's happening for BSS, boudoir search sameness, see if it's in the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. All right, so we're going to LaPorte, Texas, and Houston. All right, LaPorte, Texas. All right, let's see. All right, going to the organics. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, boom, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. All right, so we've passed the BSS threshold. We do not have BSS. Boom, we got 3. All right, we've hit the GBC recommended minimum. Boom, we got 4. And all right, we got 4 out of 10 for local search. Good. So we don't have any BSS. We do not have, and we are hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. All right, now I'm gonna check here. Houston, Texas. All right, let's see what we got. Nope, nope, nope. No, all right, we are not. So we are not even showing up. So we're at 0 out of 10. So local search, good. We're dominating that, and do not have BSS. We reached the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page one of Google. City search, Houston. We are not ranking at all. We got BSS for that one, and we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. You're just a boudoir photographer, and you've done the local search for yourself with a high intent with buyer keywords, and you have also done the same for the city search, and you've had BSS for one or both those searches, or you've not hit the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 page one Google searches for one or both of those searches. And you've accepted and you know and you see now that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that false. Google actually wants to give as many page one links to us as possible as we want to take. And so you're saying, well, that's exactly what I'm looking for. S-cube methodology is my only way forward. You're liking the initial benefit. One of the initial benefits, which is more slots page one on Google for the highest intent buyer keywords. Liking the second initial benefit, which is which is kicking more competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. So making them disappear and eventually making them go out of business. And you're also liking, you're understanding the market saturation. You know, people get new gear, yeah, over time, more boudoir photographers enter. This market slowly gets more and more saturated. But now you're looking ahead and you're saying, wow, AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So you're seeing that and you're like, okay, actually there's going to be a larger and larger flood of people coming in to be boudoir photographers as AI takes more people's jobs. So you're thinking ahead and you're like, all right, I got to fortify my position on page one. Can't simply dominate. I got to fortify it. I got to have like so many backup links that Google wants to rank on page one, but we only got 10 slots, so like Google literally cannot rank all my links there. And I need to do that so that current boudoir photographers can no longer rank on page one, and also guarantee future boudoir photographers that come in from AI taking their jobs will also no longer be able to rank on page one. And you're saying S-cube methodology is the only solution to deliver that as well. And you're liking the future benefits, you know, kind of longer term, which are, you know, kind of the longer, every single day we successfully execute S-cube methodology. What we're actually doing is we are increasing the probability that We're kind of building up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, our business name, our website, our social handles, out in like the invisible AI mindshare space. So we're kind of putting these columns like in our like the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or like spokes, on our bike tire going to the central hub, which is our brand. We're putting all these spokes or columns attached to us. And what this does is this increases the probability that we show up here, AI overview, right at the top, the most premium placement. We cannot buy this AI overview with Google PPC ads. So every day we successfully execute this, we increase the probability we're shown here in premium placement, no ad cost, and guarantees our competitors does not get it. And also, since we're building up this AI mindshare, we increase the probability AI search services recommend us as well. So we're talking ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we successfully execute methodology. We're actually building these invisible thematic keywords on our around our brand. And as a result, we're increasing the probability every single day AI search recommends us when someone's looking for a boudoir photographer in their city through AI search app. And Google right now is still approximately 9% of global search, but dude, AI search is growing every single day. Last time I did AI search for boudoir photographers in a city, it was gave me 3. And I actually went to like Google for those searches, and dude, I found like 60. Like, dude, if AI's only recommended 3, we need to get onto those 3 by any means possible. And I believe studying this, understanding it, that it's this back end AI mindshare. Gotta build momentum into it. Frequency, repetition, relevance, authority, age. These all factor in, kind of all weighted on the AI search backend. And the final thing you're thinking about, can build a brand, estimated 8x faster. And also, you understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you've decided to be a first mover because you want to box out your competitors, ensure that they don't get access to this, and then you can actually essentially guarantee a massive gap between you and your current boudoir photographers and any future boudoir photographers that will be coming from AI taking people's jobs. And as a result, build a massive back-end AI mindshare momentum for showing up the highest probability with AI search. And you also understand the converse, which is if a competing boudoir photographer, jumps on this before you, then we'd be building that momentum, getting all those benefits for them. You'd have a higher chance getting kicked off page 1 of Google, going on to page 2 to deeper pages, losing. You're becoming a disappearing boudoir photographer, or more disappearing if you currently are already there, and actually slowing, basically on the path to the boudoir photography business disappearing. Plus, you'll be building up this massive back-end AI mind share for search momentum with your competitor. And so what you'd have to do is you'd have to go rederive, or actually derive for the first time, S-cubed methodology. And you would never actually truly know if you derived it correctly. Then you'd have to go and execute on S-cubed methodology every single day. And when you do all that, you're simply maintaining the gap, meaning your competitor continuously building every single day. So you'd actually have to double or triple our S-cubed methodology output every single day to close that gap, pull the AI mindshare momentum away from me and your competitor and towards you for the back-end AI mindshare for higher probability of recommendations in AI search. And you would never feel 100% confident even executing an S-cubed methodology because you would not know if you derived it correctly. So you probably actually wouldn't put in the time to execute double or triple. And double or triple might take like 80 hours a day. Like, who literally has time to do for 80 hours a day? Ain't nobody got that time. So after understanding all that, you've decided, screw that. I've decided to be a first mover. I'm going to be the first one to use S-cubed methodology in my city. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. The hospital is closed for new patient intake at the moment. So even if you wanted to work with me, you cannot. But when I open up the hospital for new patient intake, then shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for using our S-cubed methodology.